Good afternoon, Crime Talk aficionados. We're going live. We decided to do a quick live based upon the events of today. What can you say? There was an assassination of Charlie Kirk at a school in Utah today. And whether you agree or disagree or like Charlie Kirk or dislike him, to have him or want him or celebrate somebody being assassinated like that, well, it's just not good. Not good at all. So what do we know so far? Well, we know that the conservative influencer and Turning Point CEO Charlie Kirk has died after being shot in the neck. Now, there's video of him being shot, but, well, we're not going to do that because, well, if you want to see it, you can go find it on the internet. But it is rather graphic. He gets shot, and you can immediately see a large amount of blood. You know, what is this? Just a large amount of blood coming from the neck of Charlie Kirk. I was no doctor, but I thought, oh, that doesn't look good when I saw the video. And then ultimately it was announced, I believe it was President Trump that made the announcement that Charlie Kirk had passed away. You'd think he'd probably be in a pretty good position to know. And he put a post out at about 2:42 and saying, Charlie Kirk, 31, has died after being shot in the neck at an event at Utah Valley University on Wednesday. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie Kirk. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. Like I said, a single bullet was struck him in the neck when he was speaking to the crowd Wednesday afternoon. The father of two was this is what he did. He would go to universities and speak to people. And like I said, I've never met Charlie Kirk, but I've seen what he does. And I like what he does because he's all about free speech. We're free speech type of people. And he would go out there and basically let people that disagree with him ask him questions. And they would debate it. And that's the way things are supposed to be done in America, right? I get this all the time. People say, I think I should be a lawyer. Because I like to argue. And I said, well, frankly, that doesn't make a good lawyer. What makes a good lawyer is somebody that is willing or can be persuasive. And there were many people that Charlie Kirk was very persuasive with in his views. And like I said, whether you like them or not, doesn't give you a right to go out and assassinate somebody. That's for sure. And the scary thing right now, and just like we kind of talked about yesterday, is the randomness of violence that takes place. And somebody decided, today was him. Former President Obama shared his thoughts on the fatal shooting. We don't know yet what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, but this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. He added that Michelle and I will be praying for Charlie's family tonight, especially his wife, Erica, and their two young daughters. And then, I think we're going to call me crazy, call me silly. But I think we'll probably find out that the person that shot Charlie Kirk and killed him will probably be somebody that disagreed with his views. And like I said, what I liked about Charlie Kirk was the fact that he said, bring it on. That's the way the debate is supposed to be done, right? That's like what lawyers do. They go into a courtroom, you speak, the other side speaks, the judge decides who is by chance the most persuasive, who the law was on their side. And Charlie Kirk would go to these events, say, hey, if you disagree, you come up here, you talk first, try to convince me I'm wrong, and we'll debate. Sometimes they agree to disagree, but he's done thousands of these presentations. And then today in Utah, of all places, He is literally gunned down. And of course, Illinois governor blames the shooting on Trump. J.B. Pritzker, probably one of the dumbest human beings on earth, the man that was simply born with a silver spoon in his mouth, accomplished nothing on his own. You can't even say that he got elected to be the governor of Illinois if the whole place wasn't corrupt. He says, this is Pritzker speaking, political violence has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shooting and killing in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in the United States, and I would say it's just got to stop. And I think the people who are fomenting it in the country, I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. Pritzker said, we've seen the January 6 rioters who clearly have tripped a new era of political violence. He tried to explain. He's an idiot. And of course, there's lots of people on X and Instagram, people that are celebrating that. And I think if you're celebrating the death of another human being like that, you may want to look yourself in the mirror, because there is a thing called karma, ladies and gentlemen. And, you may in fact be a horrible human being if you're celebrating dancing around on somebody that said, let's debate the ideas. Let's debate things. Okay. You know what cowards do? Cowards shut people down and say, I won't listen to your argument. And they resort to violence if that's what it is. I am right. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to punch you in the nose. That's called a bully. That's called a thug. All right. Usually somebody with, a mental IQ of about 52, perhaps. That's what kind of separates us from the animals, is people to being able to engage in political debate. And Charlie Kirk was good at, like I said, I've never met the man, but I've seen him present. I like what he does. When we do our open lives on Tuesday night, I say, hey, if you're a pro burger, you get first dibs. We'll put you first in the call-in line. Try to convince me that I'm wrong. And anyway, so that's where things, what we learned about Charlie Kirk. Assassinated. It was an assassination, cold-blooded killing. He's 31 years old. He has a wife, Erica, and a son that's 3 and a daughter that's 16 months old. 16 months old. And the couple just celebrated their 4th wedding anniversary in May. This guy had millions of social media followers. He co-founded the nonprofit Turning Point in 2012 as a teenager, which was dubbed as a national student movement. His mission was identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of fiscal responsibility. That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Free markets, definitely a good thing, and limited government, according to his website. Oh my God, what radical ideas are those? Oh my God. Free market, capitalism, limited government. Everything the founding of this nation was based upon, right? And so, obviously he's been involved in politics. People don't like him. And like I said, there is a video going out there, but we are not going to show it. But as soon as I saw it, I didn't think that was going to be a good ending. I think everybody was was hoping and obviously praying for a recovery. Apparently medical personnel did everything that they could to save him, but it was just, it was a pretty obvious shot. The amount of blood that was coming out was absolutely, it didn't look good. Like I said, I'm no doctor, but it did not look good. And given the location of it, we just saw this in the Charlotte stabbing, a couple of little knife blades, you hit the artery and you're going to bleed out in a matter of seconds. And unfortunately, it looks like that's what ultimately took the life of Charlie Kirk. So the next issue, of course, is who did it? Now, there were some initial reports that they had arrested somebody that was close up in the stands. They arrested him, but apparently he is not the shooter. They believe that the shooter was on a building, probably some 200 meters away. And apparently still on the loose. So nobody has obviously found this particular individual or individuals. to see what is taking place as far as, apparently there's a manhunt going on right now. Eventually, I'm sure there's enough surveillance footage. Somebody will see something, and we will be able to hopefully get somebody. Now, what I really hope is, Utah still has the death penalty. What I really hope is that this individual is not a coward, in the sense that they don't, take their own life, right? Because I think that is a cowardly thing to do. I really do. I have zero respect for people that do that, particularly these mass shooters or somebody that does something like this, and then they take their own life. Have no respect for that. I think it's one of the most cowardly things people can do. Anyway, I hope that they catch him or her, whomever it may be, and we find out what was going on in this individual's head, because, well, we should know what's going on in their head. Are they crazy? Are they mad? Are they just pure evil? What is it that caused them to want to kill somebody who didn't threaten anybody, was literally on a stage by himself with a microphone, somebody was asking him questions when he was shot about transgender shooters. Why the increase of transgender shooters? And then he got shot in the neck. Like I said, we're not going to show the video, but it's quite obvious if you do see it. I think we've seen enough people getting killed on live footage over the last couple of days. We probably don't need any more. But now there's a manhunt. They're searching for the killer. Like I said, after Charlie Kirk was shot, the university confirmed that no suspect is in custody after a man was seen being dragged away from the shooting. Apparently the individual that, they arrested, apparently he said something, but doesn't appear to be associated with this in any way. Apparently he's one of those guys that shows up and protests everything. Some older white guy is what we saw there. Apparently the big, huge presence there at the university. And like I said, it's just not a good day. Just not a good day when it comes to this. And then on top of that, not far from here, we have just another shooting at a high school, at Evergreen High School. Once again, not far away. I mean, I drive by Evergreen High School when I go fly fishing. See it there, off to the right-hand side. I mean, it's just one of those days, I guess, right? Let me just pull this up here. I think there were several students that were taken there. Yeah, Evergreen High School. 3 students have been hurt. 3 students were critically wounded Wednesday afternoon at Evergreen High School in the Colorado foothills. That's in Jefferson County. The shooting took place just after noon. The public information officer for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department said that they began receiving numerous calls about a shooting at about 12:24 p.m. Hundreds of law enforcement officers from across the Denver area responded. Kelly said they formed multiple teams and cleared the school room by room. Obviously, that after Columbine, the approach was charge versus let's, wait out here, let's smoke them out kind of deal. And then they realized that, well, they were sitting out there waiting to get their plan together, that, the killers were inside killing more people. So it's like, no, let's roll. And that's what they did. And apparently 3 are in critical condition. The high school said they received 3 victims, all minors from Evergreen High School. They're currently being actively treated at St. Anthony's Hospital. They're a level 1 trauma center prepared for situations like this. Each of the victims has sustained gunshot wounds. That's weird. And my iPad just went dead. That's very odd because I've been using it, but I thought I plugged it in all day. Anyway, we can pull that up. So once again, we had the Charlie Kirk shooting in Utah, where his life was taken by an assassin that they're still looking for. I hope they catch this individual or individuals associated and connected with this. The sad day, and like I said, if you don't like what people are saying, their politics, the way you solve it is you convince people, you persuade people at the ballot box. And this knucklehead who did this, if he thinks that this is going to, it's just going to make more people aware of Charlie Kirk. Whatever this person's political leanings are, I'm assuming they don't agree with Charlie Kirk. Now, we don't know that for sure, but I think we can take a reasonably strong guess that the person that wanted Charlie Kirk dead is probably somebody that didn't like him, probably didn't like some of his views. But you go and change people's views by having a more persuasive argument, not by killing your opponent. Like I said, that is, first of all, it's intellectually dishonest. You're not very smart if you have no persuasive abilities whatsoever, other than to say, I am right. Believe me. If you don't believe me, I'm going to punch you in the nose, or I'm going to do something worse. I'm going to go out and harm you. That is absolutely ridiculous. And if somebody would think that is a persuasive way to do that, I get that. That's what you call war, right? When negotiations, diplomacy ends, rational thought stops, then you go doing that. But we're not at war. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we are. I don't know. It's getting scary for certain. Jumping back here to the Colorado shooting. 3 students were taken with gunshot wounds. Law enforcement confirmed that the 3 students, that one of those 3 students is the suspect, and the scene is now safe. They said a 4th student was also sent to a hospital with unknown injuries. Then they're going to have a reunification center for all the students. And of course, the typical stuff that, everybody is scared and they're glad that their families are safe, which is all very, very good. Once again, I don't know the reason for the shooting in Colorado again. I don't know. Isn't that not the big one was there? Obviously, Columbine. I remember when that took place. I remember getting home from work. I was on active duty in 1999, I believe, and came home to see the shooting that had taken place. And, just terrible, terrible stuff. Heck, one of our attorneys here, his wife was actually a student there at that time. And so, these kind of things take a toll, when you know people that know people and all those types of things. But the reality of it is that once again, why do you go to, and I don't know. And it sounds like the shooter in this case probably was either A, shot, or B, took their own life, coward, or tried to take their own life, going to survive. And you know what? It's going to be some stupid reason. I'm sure. Oh, I was blue. I was depressed. I was down. Really? Get a life, man. Get a life. How about you not be depressed? How about you come out of your basement, go do something out in the sunshine, take a freaking hike or do something. But I'm so sick and tired of, I was depressed. My feelings got hurt. And so I wanted to go shoot somebody. Are you kidding me? That is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. All right. So once again, that took place here in Colorado. But let's get back to what we were talking about before as well. Charlie Kirk. Like I said, we're not going to show you the footage, but if you want to go see it, you can. But it was quite obvious, at least to me, that it did not look like somebody that would survive a shot to the neck like that, because he was sitting on a stool with a microphone in his hand. The shot was taken, looked like it went from right to left, and he immediately just went over with a large amount of blood coming out the left side of his neck. there's apparently some scene footage that shows a figure on top of a rooftop running away. Obviously, the crowd was ducking, but in the distance of this particular figure, there can be seen running across the roof of the Lossee Center, Lossee. Anyway, massive manhunt is now underway at the university involving Orem Police, the Utah Valley Police Department, the FBI, and the U.S. Department of Public Safety. Looks like the distance from where Kirk was seated to where the alleged shooter may have been about 375 feet from Charlie Kirk. That's a pretty good shot. And a neck shot on top of that. That's pretty good distance. I would guess it's going to be a pretty powerful hunting type rifle with some sort of a scope. Just my guess. I don't know, Frank, you want to pull that up in that article you sent me? There's video of the guy on top of the rooftop in the picture. I don't know if we can pull this up, but I think it's worth kind of talking about. Like I said, we're not going to keep running the video over and over again because he got shot in the neck, ladies and gentlemen. There was a large amount of blood. So who was Charlie Kirk? Like I said, he started a turning point when he was a teenager, and he started, going to campuses, and he would literally host events to basically prove me wrong, where people could talk with him, ask him, and debate him. That's the key. Debate. That's what people with a little bit of intelligence do. They debate. Like I said, I mean, and maybe I'm just old fashioned, right? Like I said, when I went to college, it was all about being exposed to various ideas that you agreed with, ideas you didn't agree with, maybe some things you hadn't thought about. Maybe you hadn't thought about them enough. But the point was, if you're exposed to these other things, it'll either maybe say, hey, you know what? Maybe you're right. I was wrong. Or maybe say, you know what? I've heard your argument. I'm not persuaded. I believe I am correct. But nowhere in any of those classes that, you learn to think, logic, debate, forensics, you never was like, if they don't agree with you, go over and punch them or shoot them. You didn't do that. Okay. You tried to refine your argument. If you thought, I want to try to convince them, maybe they'll come around. Maybe it won't be today, next week, but maybe they will come around. And that's what Charlie Kirk did. Like I said, he had millions of social media followers. He had a podcast that he does, a daily radio show as well. I think he was even on Fox News a couple of times recently as well. He was close to the president. Well, now he's gone. And I hope that they catch the assassin, and I hope that they catch the assassin alive. Okay. And like I said, from what it appears is that there was an individual taken into custody kind of early on, close by, and that was not the individual involved in the shooting. So Frank just put up here a photograph from a window, obviously where the event was taking place. And that is purported to be a figure of somebody on top running away after the shooting.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
Here's some video, I guess, of
so there's somebody on the roof right
what's
there?
going on.
Just saying. He just ran from
appears to be an individual in a prone position
from over there
on the rooftop. Let's see if we can see a muzzle blast or anything along those lines.
Place?
But I guarantee you, all of that videotape is being
right
reviewed, analyzed, and
he just ran from
they will ultimately
Where's my
find
finger?
whomever.
Well, from over there, ran
Doesn't
in.
look like we can see like a
Yeah, it's right
muzzle
there.
blast or anything
saying,
along
just
those lines.
Get right up.
But that would be consistent with the location of a shot where Charlie Kirk was shot from right to left. And can you show that the depiction of the distance? Can you pull that one up, Frank? All right. Looks like distance about 375 yards. So I would say somebody, probably familiar with firearms is a guess. We obviously don't know, but that's a pretty good shot. But, in today's world, if you get a scope dialed in pretty good, just about anybody can do it with limited to no firing weapons experience. Let's see here. Like I said, in an effort to educate his following base, especially the younger generation, Kirk founded Turning Point Academy, which provided a pro-American education to more than 250 partners. Worked heavily with students in colleges and universities across the country as a Turning Point supports student body president races and recruits precinct leadership teams. With a presence of over 3,000 high school and college campuses nationwide, over 650,000 lifetime student members, and 450 full and part-time staff all across the country. It's one of the largest and fastest growing conservative youth organizations in the country, according to their website. In 2026, their goals were to renew or begin 1,000 colleges or college chapters, have 1,650 high school chapters as well. And under the name Club America. His podcast, The Charlie Kirk Show, reached over 1 million people every day and often ranked among the top 10 shows on Apple News. So once again, just another tragedy. So here is a diagram of where Charlie Kirk was set up in this little courtyard area. He was in the open on a tent. Looks like there were chairs or some sort of, bleachers or some sort of natural landscape where people could be around there. It looked like there was a pretty good crowd. Just from the videos I saw, maybe several hundred to maybe 1,000 or maybe more. It's tough to tell. And then they believe that the shooter was where that dot is located, which is roughly 375 feet from where Charlie Kirk was shot. And like I mentioned earlier, there's video out there if you want to see it, but we're not going to post that, but you get the idea when a high-powered rifle from some 375 feet shoots you in the neck, and you can see basically him slump over almost immediately with a large amount of blood coming from his neck. You know that is not going to be a good scenario. Like I said, a lot of stuff coming out. Former President Obama. We don't know what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk. Oh, I bet we do. But this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. Michelle and I will be praying for Charlie and his family. Like I said, we put up that video showing the what appears to be a person on top of the roof, obviously in the prone position. Apparently shows the person running and ducking on the roof after Charlie Kirk was shot. He would have challenging conversations with people. Like I said, you always know the people that don't have a strong argument when all they can say is, if you don't go with my position, you're a racist, you're a bigot. When they call you names, you know the conversation's over because that's all they have. You know that at that point, they have no argument other than to call you names, right? That's just reality, people. And Charlie Kirk would go and say, Let's have a debate. Give me your best shot. Bring it on. Okay. And, we would all see clips on Instagram. I'm sure there'll be more and more of them, and it'll show him debating people. And I would say for the most part, he would usually prevail in the persuasive part, because that's what you do when you try to get people to come to your point of view, is you have to be persuasive. And he tried to be persuasive. But obviously other people do not agree with that particular form of persuasion and believe the only way to persuade people that they are correct is to kill the people that are opposing their point of view. Now, we don't know who the person is, what their motivations are, but I'm going to guess it was not a pro Charlie Kirk person. I'm just going on a limb there, but I think I'm going to be proven right about this one. And if I'm not, I'll be the first to admit it. But I can't see a pro Charlie Kirk person doing that. But like I said, there is a video. Okay, got audio, video. Let's go ahead and take a listen here. Okay. And you can see, let's see from this one. Yep, there's a person. If you look right there in the middle, if you go the window pane right up the middle there, about halfway up, and just a hair to the left, you see a little speck on top of the building. That is what is apparently purported to be the shooter. He's hiding, and then after the shot's taken, somebody gets up, scurries away. And as of right now, the assassin is still at large. There's reports. We'll take this with some grain of salt because you never know as things come in. But apparently, people spotted the figure on the roof. The question is, what happened? What did somebody not check it out? It's not like this is the president. This is not a politician. It's just a guy that runs an organization trying to get people involved in the political process. And even if you didn't agree with him, he would say, go get involved, vote. And that's what his goal was. And obviously, it's tough to say, but I'd say there's several thousand people there. I haven't counted them, but several hundreds to maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000, just depends on the view. But, and of course, when things like this happen, you're never exactly sure what is actually taking place. Let's see here. I'm checking. Yep. Shooter has not been apprehended. Apparently they were searching homes near the campus. And I don't know. I don't know. The president put out a tweet, says, in honor of Charlie Kirk, a truly great American patriot, I'm ordering all American flags throughout the United States lowered to half-mast until Sunday evening at 6 p.m. It was the president that delivered the news that Charlie Kirk was in fact deceased. I was actually in court. I was monitoring what was taking place, and there were several reports that saying that he was in stable condition based upon people that knew what was going on, that he was going to be okay. Then there was one organization that said that he had passed away. They were standing by that, and it turns out that they would be correct. And so the question then becomes, who did this? Was this some deranged lunatic? Obviously go around killing people because of their political ideas. Not exactly what the United States stands for. That's what they do in, third world dictator, despot, communist type states. They don't like what you do. You just kind of get disappeared in the middle of the night. And you're never heard from again, and your family never knows. But only thing they know is that you were the guy that disagreed with the people in power. And like I said, I never knew Charlie Kirk, wasn't a member of any of his organizations, anything like that. But I would see stuff come up on various social media feeds. I had heard him speak on TV. I thought, seems like pretty smart guy. I like what he does as far as debating people, saying, give me your best shot. Tell me what, ask any question you have. I'll give you an answer. Maybe we'll change your mind. Maybe we won't. But let's have a debate. And I've actually seen videos where he basically, the guy was like, you convinced me. You're right. And, that was something I thought was kind of fresh because, when you watch the political stuff on the TV stations, I saw, I think it was MSNBC said, well, maybe he was shot by a supporter firing a gun in celebration. Probably one of the dumbest things you could possibly say right afterwards, right? Clearly. But this newscaster said it. Unbelievable to me that somebody would be actually that stupid to say something along those lines. It must have been a supporter out there shooting because he was excited to see Charlie Kirk. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. The assassin is still on the loose. And like I said, we know we've got the video. We can put that up again. There's a video of an unidentified person spotted on the rooftop overlooking the Utah Valley University shortly before Charlie Kirk was shot. And then the witnesses there described the figure's movement before the attack began, sending attendees into a panic. Police confirmed the suspect is still at large and warned the community to remain vigilant. I hope that maybe see if you can pull this up, Frank. There's a press conference going on. Yeah. See if there's a live press conference that we can stream in here. At Utah Department of Public Safety, Utah DPS would be doing it. It was a media release. And Utah's on the same time zone, so we may be able to get that as well. Apparently, there's radio traffic, and the Utah County Public Safety Dispatch channel describes the suspect in the Kirk assassination as in all black, black bag, sunglasses with a long gun. I guess it'll be some sort of hunting rifle. A lot of people talking about, being aware. Let's see here. FBI Director Kash Patel put out a statement regarding the situation near Denver. The FBI is on the scene, full support of local authorities to ensure everyone's safety. That, of course, is related to the shooting at Evergreen High School. I'd say it's probably about a 30-minute drive from my office. There's also a video of police and security personnel rushing Charlie Kirk to the SUV after he had been shot, putting him in. Obviously, not even an ambulance was there. They put him in the backseat of an SUV, but it obviously did not look good at that moment either. All right, let's see. We may have be able to stream in here a live update. Apparently on the House floor in Congress, people asked for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk. Democrats shouted no. Democrats shouted no, stating that people shouting back, "You all caused this." There's a post. Let's see if we got the video here. If there's a stream that we got. Oh, it hasn't started yet? Okay, it hasn't started as of just yet, but we'll try to bring you that stream. Whomever is going to bring it. Let me send this one here to you, Frank. I mean, yeah, this guy, just I sent you a video, Frank. Maybe we can play this. Yeah, this guy just horrible person, right? Now, he's a father. only married about 4 years. Obviously, somebody looked like loved his children. And somebody assassinated him today. And although we don't know the exact reason, but more than likely because of his political views. Interesting quote. Just see here from George Orwell. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. That's sinking. Somebody said, hey, you may want to check this out. Some guy on X stated, Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope somebody evaporates him, literally. Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. I'm not going to put this guy's post out there, but FBI may want to check that out, don't you think? Maybe we should. Although I can't tell that it's for real. All right, so we got, looks like we may have the start of a press conference here, but as far as we know, though, the assassin is still on the loose. Hopefully.
Okay, if we can have
let's mute that until they start, I guess. Sorry. Okay, looks like here we go. All right, let's take a listen to the news feed here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. At this press conference, we will first hear from Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bo Mason. Then we'll hear from the FBI Special Agent in Charge, Robert Bowles. We'll then hear from Utah Valley University Vice President Val Peterson, who's been in touch with President Jimenez. And then we'll hear from Governor Cox. I'll turn the time over to Commissioner Mason.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, we got breaking news.
Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety.
According to Cash.
Today at approximately 12:20 Mountain Standard Time, political influencer Charlie Kirk
Today took
was shot at an event at Utah Valley University.
I'm sending it to
He
you.
was taken by private vehicle to Timpanogos Hospital, where he later passed. The Utah Department of Public Safety will be co-leading this criminal investigation to find this killer, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're working in unison with the County Sheriff's Office, the local police department, and the University Police Department, all of which have been very cooperative and fully engaged in this process. Shortly after the shooting, we did have a suspect in custody, George Zinn, but he was released from custody after we identified that he did not match the shooting suspect and was not an accurate person of interest. However, he has been booked into the county jail by Utah Valley University Police Department for obstruction of justice. We do still have an active investigation for the person of interest. This incident occurred with a large crowd around. There was one shot fired and one victim. While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual.
I wonder if that's it. Let's make sure that's
This is a tragic moment in our state and our country. As we heal, we encourage everyone who's struggling with news of the incident to call 988, our state mental health crisis line. In addition to that, partners with the FBI will also be discussing other ways we can communicate through the public for tips and other information. Thank you.
Cash Patel. It's the 7 minutes.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. Our thoughts are also with the people who witnessed this traumatic event. We know that what you experienced was very difficult. Our thoughts are with you as well. As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake field office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside with our partners. We are working on setting up a digital media tip line, and as soon as it's established, we'll get that information out to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions. This is very much an active case, and this investigation is in its early stages. We are following all the leads and all the evidence. If anyone has any information, please report it to the FBI or local law enforcement. Thank you.
On behalf of President Jimenez, who we've been communicating with, and she's on her way back right now, say that on behalf of Utah Valley University, we are shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. We express our sincere condolences to the Kirk family. We grieve with our students, faculty, and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a safe place for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this dark and tragic occasion. I want to thank our law enforcement officers who are leading this investigation, starting with Chief Long and his response here with the UVU Police Department. We're grateful for your leadership and your team. And again, to the speakers that you just heard from, who are co-leading this investigation. I also want to recognize Sheriff Mike Smith, who has been an invaluable partner as this investigation moves forward. I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel. We are completely aligned with our state and federal partners as we work through this case. Now, this is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to two young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Now, we have a person of interest in custody. The investigation is ongoing. But I want to make it crystal clear right now, to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah. Our nation is broken. We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania. And we had an attempted assassination on a presidential candidate and former president of the United States, and now current president of the United States. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation. If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. We need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. To ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Kirk stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family, and that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans. With that, we're happy to take a few questions.
The FBI director is posting that a suspect is in custody. I would just like clarification. Do you or do you not have a suspected shooter in custody?
We have a person of interest in custody that is being interviewed right now. We do.
That is not George Zinn.
That is not George Zinn. That is correct.
So are you still searching or looking for another shooter or anybody else?
Yes, we are actively looking for anyone and everyone who has any possible information relating to the shooting.
Can you tell us details about the suspect being in custody, where, and how long ago?
We cannot at this point, but we will get you that information when we can.
Is there believed to be a second individual involved in the shooting?
At this point, there is no information that would lead us to believe that there is a second person involved.
Can you guys talk to the prosecution?
Do you want to talk about what we know there?
The only information we have on the suspect, the possible shooter, is taken from closed circuit TV here on campus. We do have that. We're analyzing it, but it is security camera footage, so you can kind of guess what the quality of that is. But we do know dressed in all dark clothing, but we don't have a much better description other than that. The shot came from here on campus, from a location at a fair, potentially from a roof, yes. A longer distance shot from a roof.
So to clarify, with the security camera footage you have and the person interested in custody, do those that match?
That's what we're trying to decipher right now.
Did an FBI or DHS have anything to do with that?
I'll just say that the investigation's ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any information or intelligence?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
Can you talk a little about the security of the event itself? Who was there, security-wise, and what happened on these events?
So my name is Jeff Long. I'm the police chief here at UVU, and I'll tell you right now, we're devastated. We're a small police department. We have a very large campus. We have over 40,000 students, and we love our students. We love our visitors. And we're devastated by what happened today. This is the police chief's nightmare. I'm very saddened for the Kirk family. I know his wife and parents found out about this. You know, obviously he's away from home. He's here in Utah. They find out by a police officer that visits their home. It's tragic. Nobody wants that. But I can tell you about our venue today. This was an open venue. This was outside. We did have 6 officers working that event. We had probably over 3,000 people that were in attendance. It sat down in kind of a bowl area here on the central campus. We have a waterfall area. And so he was kind of in a lower area, surrounded by buildings. You know, we had some plainclothes police officers that were in the crowd as well. You know, we train for these things, and you think you have things covered, and you know, these things, you know, unfortunately, they happen. You try to get your bases covered, and unfortunately today we didn't. And because of that, we had this tragic incident. So we did have officers there. We had Charlie Kirk's team. He has a security team that travels with him, and they were here with him when he was shot. I'm sorry, see? At this point, I can't disclose that.
When that was shot, there was a question being asked about that shooting. Was that person apprehended? And do you know who asked that?
Say the question again. I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, he was answering a question about mass shootings specifically. Was that person apprehended? And do you know who asked that?
I do not. We do not have that at this moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for just one more question. So thank you.
Yeah. A question for the chief as well. Was it your team or Kirk's team or a combination of both that set this involved?
So we work together. You know, he has his team, and they do this all over the country. We all know that. This is not uncommon for them. They're very comfortable on campuses, and I was coordinating with his lead security guy, and so yeah, we were working together.
Was this a sharpshooter type shot?
Ladies and gentlemen, those are all the questions that will be answered today. Again, thank you for covering this. We will be updating you as soon as we have additional information through normal channels, working with law enforcement. Again, our deepest condolences to the Kirk family and to the students who were there today. I would just ask everyone everywhere to please pray for their family and pray for our country. We need it now more than ever. Thank you.
And go from there. Now, let's see here. Somebody's saying that he was actually wearing a bulletproof vest. Charlie Kirk was wearing a bulletproof vest. I don't know if that's true or not. Slow motion makes it look like it hit a vest and then went up into his neck based upon that video. But we're not going to show that. But that would be interesting to see if that's in fact true or if it's something else. But let's see here. The police officer said it was an open venue, which you can see from the video. Some 3,000 people were there. The local police station department had 6 officers working the event, working with Charlie Kirk's team. The governor, Spencer Cook, said this was, let's be clear, a political assassination. He said that Charlie Kirk believed in the power of free speech because that's what he did. He debated people. He came to school to debate people. Then he ultimately said, several minutes later, we do have somebody in custody, person of interest in custody, but they were going to basically find out what the whole story was before they provide more information. At least the governor did. But he said, the governor said, quote, "We will find you, we will try you, and we will hold you accountable," and said, "Oh yeah, and by the way, we got the death penalty in Utah." I guess let's see if they're afraid to use it, if they in fact come up with somebody. And of course, there are people, before the press conference started, apparently There was a request on the floors of Congress for a moment of silence or a prayer for Charlie Kirk, and Democrats said, "No, you caused this." I saw a tweet as I was listening to the press conference. The Simsbury Democratic Party said that Charlie Kirk advocated for guns, so he got what he deserved. Apparently, TMZ was doing a live stream, and before it was about 30 seconds before it was officially announced that Charlie Kirk was dead, the staff at TMZ cheered loudly for that. So, we'll have to wait and see. There was a tweet that was put out that said, "Hey, Charlie Kirk's going to be at my school tomorrow. Something big is going to happen." We'll have to wait and see what takes place. Obviously, was it one person? Were there multiple people involved in this? Charlie Kirk was being asked a question by somebody there at the scene when he was just moments before he was shot about the rise in transgender shootings across the United States. So that's where things stand as of right now. Obviously, we'll learn more as the evening goes by. Hopefully by morning, we will know the full name and details and maybe motives as it relates to the individual. The good thing is he or she is alive. And, there wasn't the cowardly taking their own life right after they shot it at them. I think the world needs answers. And the best way to do that is for a swift, speedy, and public trial. And then we can find out what the person's motives were. There's a lot of this going on. We got the guy down in Florida in federal court trying to represent himself, who's accused of attempting to assassinate President Trump. I wish that were televised so that we can see, so that we could really see the mentality of these people that want to assassinate public figures. Then we got the guy up in, was it Minnesota, that's, went on that ramp that went to the house and started killing members of the state legislature up in Minnesota as well, not long ago. That guy was captured. And I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. If you need to go kill your opponent, somebody that disagrees with you, that you can't persuade, you're not supposed to go punch them in the nose. You're certainly not supposed to go kill them. As if somebody's practiced criminal defense for 30 years, I can't think of a single defense that is allowed under the law, which basically says they disagreed with me. Nope. That's just cold-blooded murder, ladies and gentlemen. And when you commit cold-blooded murder, guess what? You're going to go spend the rest of your life in prison. And, there's going to be a lot about, the person that's going to be arrested, charged. And let's not forget, he is entitled to an attorney. Somebody will be appointed, whether it's from the public defender's office there in Utah, or whether it is a private attorney, if there's some sort of conflict, to represent this individual. More than likely, it'll be charged in state court. That's where the murder took place. I'm sure they could come up with some sort of federal charge as well. And whether it's the public defender there that represents him, remember, okay? And, everybody's entitled to the presumption of innocence, but we know if this is the guy that did it, remember, he's entitled to an attorney. He's entitled to representation. And if we don't give this individual the due process that he deserves, then guess what? Then we're no better than what he or she did allegedly to Charlie Kirk, right? So remember that. The defense attorney, whoever gets appointed to represent him, is going to be doing his job. And yes, we want it to be swift and we want it to be impactful. All right. And the reality of it is, the attorney is doing his job. He really is. And it's times like this that it's, can be difficult to be a criminal defense attorney. But everybody's entitled to a defense. Everybody's entitled to an attorney. If they can't afford one, they'll be appointed one. And then the government will have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. That's in the Constitution. And my guess is that Charlie Kirk would agree with that statement. I really do. I don't know. It's just a sad, sad day. Indeed. We have a shooting in Evergreen High School, 30 miles here from the office, maybe even less. Drive by that school when I go fly fishing. Just happens too much. Just happens too much. And I'll be curious to see what the reason is for that. Probably somebody didn't like me. I was blue. Ooh, hoo, hoo. I didn't like something. So I was going to go, instead of just taking themselves out, they're going to go kill innocent victims or attempt to kill people. And now those people's lives will be changed forever. A sad day. Do you have that video up that about Charlie Kirk showing him with his kids? Okay. So when you remember and you hear of all the bad things about, oh, Charlie Kirk, he deserved this. He supported guns. He deserved this. Think about that. First of all, what kind of human are you to actually celebrate the death of another human being who was doing nothing but talking with somebody? Seriously, that was it. And, take a look at this. This is the Charlie Kirk that is no longer with us at 31 years of age, a father of two. Go ahead and take a listen. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Those two little children no longer have their father because somebody didn't like what he had to say and didn't have enough guts to come down and face-to-face debate him and try to convince him that he was wrong. He assassinated him in cold blood. I get it. I provide the presumption of innocence. Give him an attorney. We will respect the attorney that has to do that job. I assure you of that. And we're going to be following the case. I hate to do this. I think I could stay all night. We open the lines, but I have a meeting that I have to go to tonight at 6 o'clock that I am committed to at the law school for a mentor-mentee thing that I committed to. So that's all we have, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Sad day. We'll be back tomorrow. But hey, remember, the Constitution matters. And it's going to be times like this where it does.